All right, friends, it's T-Man. We're back with a brand new video. It's on Jason Blaha, strength and fitness dude broski. That's right, man. The gym, lifting, recruiting, fitness gear slay himself, Jason Blaha. So we're going to do a reaction video today to his video. So Jason Blaha says the fitness trend saying anything over 8 reps is useless. Okay, whatever.
There is a current trend in social media fitness telling people that we don't really benefit from higher reps. There's no point to it.
You don't benefit from higher reps, but 8 reps is not a high rep. In bodybuilding, 8 to 12 reps are not high reps. Anything over 12 reps is considered high reps, but you do not benefit from it. And there's a reason why. I'm not going to explain it in this video. There is a reason in bodybuilding why you stick to 8 and 12. And the moment you go over 12, ain't nothing gonna be happening there. You're wasting your time. That's for endurance people. Stay away from it. These concentric lifting, performing endurance slaves. That's it, okay? But if you're a bodybuilder lifting eccentrically, you do not want to go past 12. And you don't want to go under 8. It's really simple. There's reasons for everything in lifting.
It doesn't help with hypertrophy, doesn't help with strength so much when compared to lower reps, and that we shouldn't go over 8 reps. Hey, everybody.
Well, powerlifting is based on low repetition, very low. And I don't know how many, I don't know. It depends how many sets they're doing. They can do many sets, multiple sets. And it's concentric lifting. So, yeah, has nothing to do with bodybuilding whatsoever. Powerlifting is not bodybuilding at all whatsoever. What are you building there? You're power building. What do you think they call it, power building? Or powerlifting. Why do you think they call it powerlifting? Because you're building your power lift. Now, why do they think they call it bodybuilding? Because you're building your body. Okay, how do you build your body? What builds bodies? See what I mean? You don't have to be a genius to figure that out. You understand me, man? Like when somebody says to you calisthenics, what comes to your mind? Well, you see some guy, right, in a park lifting on these bars. It's body weight, whatever. But they don't just seclude themselves to body weight. Want to know why? Why do they use weighted belts? Because they're copying bodybuilders. They stole that from bodybuilding, but whatever. The point is, calisthenics is what it is. It's really body weight exercises, but they lie because they're doing weighted belt exercises. Okay, they're weighing themselves down. They started using weights. Now, as far as powerlifting, they just do concentric lifting to build the nervous system, that power concentrically. That's it. So what is left over? Eccentric. Okay, what's eccentric? Bodybuilding. It's all eccentric. And it always stays in eccentric. We never leave the eccentric in bodybuilding. If you do, you're not a bodybuilder. You're not bodybuilding. It's really simple.
It's Jason Blaha here, and I thought I would chat with you guys and gals a little bit about this today. And this is, to me, a ludicrous statement. Okay. And the reason I say this is because I've run the full gamut of stuff. I'm very familiar with a lot of these various starting strength models, all this stuff. I promoted 5x5s early on for novices. I've also run conjugate. And I've done a lot of different methods to get jacked and strong. And I mean, all things considered.
He ran a numerous amount of what? Projects or things to get jacked and strong? He's not jacked. He's not strong. He injects strength. That's a lie. If Blaha was a normal human being, he wouldn't be having to inject strength, okay? He's just like the rest of these fake fitness YouTubers, whatever. That's why their channels are not growing. They're not growing. Some are growing, some are not growing. When they discover you're a fake. And even then, they still revere you, even if you're a fake. The more fake you are, probably, I don't know. The more fake, maybe it's because if you don't say anything and you just stay fake, you just pretend. Like Sam Sulek, he's very popular. Think about it. How could Sam Sulek be so popular in such a short time? Have a following of over 4 million and going on 5 million followers. Some crazy guy named Sam Sulek, who's like second rate, taking steroids, lifting in the gym, pretending, pretending he's a bodybuilder, pretending like he's building muscles, like everything he's doing is real, but it's all pretend, get it? Because he's taking a drug. It's cosmetic. So I guess in this world, people love pretend. They love fake stuff. You want to know why? Only the 1% on the top, they don't like fake. They like real products. But the people at the bottom, they love fake stuff. It doesn't make any sense. Like the rich people on the top, they want the name brands. They don't want the fake stuff. They want the real Ferrari or this. They don't want the copies, the fakes. They don't want the fake Rolexes and all that. But the population below, they want all these fake things. They're so enthralled by fakeness. I don't know any rich people on the top of 1% that are subscribed or listening or watching Sam Sulek. Now I've seen Sam Sulek. I'm not subscribed to him. I've seen him on the internet. I've done some videos on him just describing what he's doing there, which is fake. Everything he's doing is fake. He knows it. The people out there, they know it too, but they love it. It's crazy.
48-year-old guy, as you guys see here, I'm reasonably jacked and strong. Okay, but
You are not reasonably jacked. You're not strong, and your strength is fake because it's just concentric. There's no eccentric. There's nothing. There's only one way for blah blah.
I have clients who are bigger and stronger than me, a lot of them. And you guys have seen quite a few of them over the years. You've seen some of my clients squat and deadlift over 600 pounds, plenty of them benching over 400, while being fairly lean. Over 600 pounds.
No. I've seen his so-called fake clients. No, none of them are strong. They're all weak like Blaha.
Mentioned over 400 while being fairly lean.
That's a lie.
So we're not talking about fat guys. Okay? So when it comes to this topic, I find some of this ludicrous. Keeping in mind, I talked about strength. I didn't even get into hypertrophy. I think for strength, 20 and 30 rep sets are useful. Oh, I said it. You just guys watched me, by the way, squat 500 pounds as an old man with a gray beard with no sleeves on.
Yeah, okay, and that what kind of squat was that? That was a concentric squat. You could never do it for an eccentric, so you're lying. There's not full range of motion. It's a lie.
Telling you, I think 30 rep sets help plenty with strength.
I don't think so.
Okay.
You can believe that.
My opinion as a coach. So here's the thing.
I think he's upped the dose of the primobalin, like he said, to match out the testosterone.
I lift heavy. I believe we should lift heavy. You guys are watching me do training maxes right here. And some awkward lifts too.
I love this. I lift heavy, and I think everyone should lift heavy. Well, there's a reason you're moving heavy weight, and you only need to move it so far to accomplish a certain goal, but Blaha is just failing.
Those you're benching like that.
You know, powerlifting is just a rip-off of bodybuilding. They rip this off from bodybuilding, but they don't even know how to use it properly. They just lift up and then they drop it. Watch.
Deficit pulls.
I like how he bounced. Didn't he bounce like 3, 4, 5 times there?
550, you know. Right? I'm doing some hard stuff. I believe in lifting heavy. But if we're going to lift heavy, then we need...
I do. I believe in lifting smart, lifting heavy, but smart heavy. And so you can grow more myofibrillars, so you don't have to enslave yourself as a lifting slave. And then you can enhance yourself physically through eccentric lifting, heavy eccentric loads. That's it. Eccentric overload training. Not this bullshit training that Blaha is doing. You want to enhance yourself. Like, are you a serious person? You want to enhance yourself? These nuclei, they will enhance yourself. Every time you build more sarcomere in series and parallel, these myofibrillars, there's a donation of these nuclei. They have to be donated. And so they accumulate more and more over time. And then it's like inflation. You just keep getting more and more. And then all of a sudden you notice the size starts coming on, man. Boom. You just get bigger and stronger and more enhanced. You become faster, bigger, better, stronger, and faster. Strength, power, speed, and performance. You got power because you have more sarcomeres. You can recruit more of them now. You have more muscle. Get it? More mass. You can recruit more of them. So you have more strength, you have more power, you have speed because you have more type 2 muscle fibers, more speed. And performance. Your performance is going to be off the charts. Bro, get it? Because if you read it in Google. Nuclei enhance your performance. Get it? And these myofibrillars.
To lift heavy. Like if you're saying, hey, I'm trying to get the most neural drive, then you need to be moving some big weights. Not a weight you can do 5.
See, I don't know too many calisthenic guys that are not good at bench pressing. Why? Because it's a carryover. The dips are a carryover to bench press. A lot of people know that. A lot of people, because of the eccentric part. See, if they can't do the eccentric part, if you don't have a partner doing, to help you with the eccentrics on benching, well then you could always step up and do them on the dip with heavy weights. You just step up and then lower, step up and lower. You get more eccentrics as much as you can. Do as many sets as you can. Here's the thing. With accentuated eccentrics, you're going to have to add double the sets that you would do normally in an eccentric overload exercise. Why is that? Because in eccentric overload, we're always in the eccentric. When we initiate eccentrically, we hit the isometric part, and then we lower eccentrically. So it's always eccentric because if you're pulling up, it's eccentric, and then you're lowering eccentric. We never go concentric. So we get more eccentric drive there as opposed to just doing eccentric. So if you're just doing eccentrics, well, then you're going to have to add more sets. Yeah, it's not hard to figure that one out. See what I mean?
For 6 times, hey, I don't even consider 5s to be true powerlifting training if you're trying to get really strong. It falls into more assistance exercises. And I think stuff has 3 and 5s and stuff has a good place for assistance work. Absolutely. Absolutely. But as far as your hypertrophy,
look at Blaha. Yeah, Blaha. He's getting so muscular there, broski. The fat is going down, definitely. You're lowering that fat, but man, you just look terrible. I don't know what it is, but okay.
No, not the best. I'm not saying it can't be used. It's not a...
Maybe he's going to go to a bodybuilding show.
Because here's the thing with heavy work, it beats you up. You have to limit the amount of heavy work you can do. Notice me doing all this speed work with light weights here in the middle too.
Blaha thinks that bodybuilding is cosmetic. It's not cosmetic. Real bodybuilding is not cosmetic. That's why powerlifting can never be cosmetic. You understand me? When powerlifters lift, it's not cosmetic. They look very average. A lot of them are fat. Look at these Olympic lifters. They don't look so good. The only reason some of them look really good is because of the drugs they're taking. And even powerlifters, if they look better, it's because of the drug, because it's cosmetic. But if you look at real normal people, natural people lifting, doing certain things, they don't look so good. But why do calisthenic guys look good? They're natural. They don't even need to take drugs. They don't need drugs, bro. Calisthenics. They don't need drugs. They don't use drugs. They're just average people doing like bodyweight pull-ups, bro. But why do they look so jacked? Want to know why? More myofibrillar growth. And the body fat is being lowered. They do a lot of, here's the thing, they do a lot of stretching exercises. Okay, I'll explain this. It's a little bit different, okay? In bodybuilding, we're looking for micro tears. However, you can be adapted and doing, stretching. You're constantly stretching now. These guys are adapted, sometimes coming in, they're stretching. They're causing a lot of stretches to the myofibrillar. This constant stretching also will cause you to build a new fiber. See what I mean? It can cause a new fiber to grow because this constant stretching, even though you are adapted. See what I mean? This lengthening, constantly lengthening the muscle. So that's why the dip and the pull up will always be like superior to a lot of these other things that people are doing because there's constant stretch on there. I'm not saying you can't get constant stretches working out. But you don't want to come in. Listen, you really don't want to come into the gym just doing stretches. At some point, it's going to end because you're adapted. It's just going to stretch, but it's protected. You're not going to build anymore. That's why a lot of calisthenic guys they get jacked, they get sort of big, but then they just can't really build anymore. Their problem is they come in too often. They're adapted to their exercise. But regardless, whatever, it's a complicated process. I can't explain it all in this video.
So when we start messing with the conjugate type stuff, what's your training look like? And again, Westside produced some really jacked dudes, but it was the strongest gym on earth. So what do you see? You see max work, truly heavy max work, about 5% of the training, a little bit of assistance work in the rep work sometimes. See speed work in the doubles and triples with lightweight, short breaks. But then what do they do? Everything's reps. 10s, 15s, 20s, 30s, 50s. I train like that. And that's what I'm saying. When it comes to hypertrophy, yeah,
Man, Blaha trains concentrically. Look at all the weight on there. It's going to go down light.
volume does matter. Don't let anyone tell you volume doesn't matter. And I'm not saying
It's like I told you before, it's like some guy trying to skate uphill and build muscles skating uphill. You're not going to build muscles running up a stairwell, but you will build muscles running down a stairwell. Get it, bro? You're not going to run going against gravity. You're not going to make it against gravity. It'll just make you better because now it's like you're putting in so much effort to be so good at pushing something against gravity. Get it? But what is the purpose if it can't build any myofibrillar, if it can't build any myofibrillar growth? What is the purpose? If it can't give you myonuclei, if it can't regenerate your joints, your tendons and ligaments bigger and stronger and give you more muscle, these sarcomeres, what is the point? See what I mean? It's good. It's good, I guess, competition, but bro, it's not going to do anything for you. It's going to destroy you. Lifting concentrically destroys your joints. It'll wear you out.
well, tension's not a major driver of hypertrophy. It is. But we can get through mechanical tension through volume, through work sets. A 20 rep set taken to failure, you're going to get mechanical tension. Plus, we're doing the other stuff first anyway.
What is this? Is this Blaha? We're going to get mechanical tension. Yeah, mechanical tension just means you're lifting a weight. Okay, and what?
So that's the thing I would always point out. On a good training system, you're not standing around doing 4 sets of 8.
Sure.
You should be doing really heavy work at the start or really explosive work at the start. You should be doing something.
We are in bodybuilding. We do heavy eccentric work. That's the idea. That's the whole point. And we constantly keep that mechanical tension in the eccentric.
Explosive or powerful, whether it's speed.
Rebird lets you train.
Doing something explosive or powerful, whether it's speed work or plyometrics, or you should be lifting really heavy weight, like maxes. One or the other. Okay, what happens with that? We already get to where we get some attenuation of the upper threshold muscle fibers. It will make your rep work more efficient. If you do that first, you can come in and do a bunch of 10s. You can do a bunch of 15s. Okay? That stuff doesn't beat you up the same. People say, well, it creates fatigue. It does create fatigue, but are you in shape or not? And I think...
Yeah, you know who gets fatigued? Marathon runners. They get fatigued.
This is a take-home message that we have to talk about with this.
Okay.
Right? People will say, well, you can't come in and do...
It's about time. Blah's doing dips. Amazing.
15 sets of 10 to 20 reps after doing that other stuff. Really?
He definitely has been watching my channel, noticing that these guys, they're doing dips on my channel. And I've been talking about calisthenics a lot recently, right? You know, I've been posting community section talking about, I show what these guys are doing. The eyes do not lie, bro. The eyes do not lie.
Telling me I can't come in and do 20 sets of that, of hard sets in the 10 to 20 rep range and recover afterwards? Well,
yeah, but it starts to turn out to be endurance when you're going high reps of 20. Can do high sets, but you shouldn't do high reps.
Maybe your diet sucks. Maybe you're not in shape. Maybe you need to get your cardio and conditioning up. Sounds like you're out of shape. Sounds like you eat a junk food diet. Sounds like you don't sleep. Build your work capacity, be my point.
Okay.
You know, because the heavy work beats us up. So this other stuff will help us get more efficient with those later sets. So no, I don't tell people come in and do a bunch of 10s. No, you need some heavy.
See how far he goes right there, huh? Okay.
Or some explosiveness at the start, one or the other. Okay. Don't say both.
It's all concentric, all of his lifting, which is, I told you, it's like a person trying to skate uphill. It's a waste of time. And he's telling you it's hypertrophy training. This isn't hypertrophy training. Hypertrophy training would be, if you're equating it with muscle, hypertrophy training would be eccentric training.
Because we usually want to split these dynamics up. All right? And then afterwards you do your rep work. But you got your tension from the other stuff, your real tension.
Yes, afterward, yes, do that. Yes.
You're still going to reach that same mechanical tension later that you want on the muscle fibers with the fatigue work later.
Mechanical tension, okay. So his exercise is concentric, but here's the thing. So when you go up towards the top concentrically, he is low. He is lowering somewhat. He is going down with the weight, right? Okay, but it still would be considered concentric, because you'd have to pass a threshold where it starts to pull. The weight pulls on the muscle. It's not really pulling on the muscle. You don't feel it. You don't feel it pulling on the muscle. The muscle's being stressed, but it's not being stretched or pulled. So yeah, I mean, there's nothing going on there really. If you stress a cell, you'll cause it to inflame. It'll absorb water, but that's just inflammation you're causing. See what I mean? It itself is not going to get bigger. Now, if you walk with a weight and gravity, will you expand? Will you expand big? Yes, you will expand. Now, because the tension is still there using the weight, will some of your muscles somewhat expand? Well, yeah, I mean, kinda. That's why they say, they talk about, building muscle concentrically and eccentrically. How would a muscle build concentrically? Well, it'll give you something. It must, because you're still there's mechanical tension there. You're moving up and down with the weight, right? But it's minute. It's minute. It's so minute. It's ridiculous. See what I mean? Because it's just stress on the myofibrillar. That's what you're causing. You're not causing micro tears. You're causing stress. That's totally different.
They're truly challenging sets. Okay? So what I'm saying is this idea of not going over 8, so you do everything 5 days, you're going to get beat up. You're not going to be able to put in the same training volumes. He's going to start beating your joints up.
Yeah.
It's going to beat you into the ground. And I'm saying, as somebody's done this, I've done programs where I ran 10 heavy triples. It starts to beat you up. You know what doesn't beat you up?
What?
Doing a max and doing a bunch of 10, 20, and 30 rep sets afterwards. That doesn't beat you up the same, because your max work is so limited.
Okay.
So again, it's low enough volume. The heavy work is kept very, very low volume. And the heavier it is, the more neural drive you get. So people can argue all they want about 3 sets of 5.
The heavier you get, the more neural drive. Neural drive. Yeah, that's about it, though.
Okay, fine. For a novice, is that going to give you the same neural drive training that ramping to a max does?
I don't know. Will
Going
it?
460, 480, 500. 500 was your max. Done. All of that counted, by the way. Those are above 90%, those other 2 reps.
Okay.
They have an enormous max effort training response by themselves. Okay? Understand this? You're getting that already. You guys start doing tons and tons of 5s and 6s and stuff that are really heavy, it will beat you up. Yeah, you get some metabolic fatigue from the other stuff if you go higher, but you're going to get jacked from it. And again, why can't you recover? People say, well, you got the calcium ion fatigue, you got all this other stuff, okay? But it's still easier on your body. You're not getting beaten into the ground.
Man, concentric exercise beats your body to the ground. It weakens you. It weakens your joints. It's not regenerative. It really doesn't build muscle, myofibrillars.
You can get strong with a small amount of truly heavy work. All this other training volume will get you jacked, and it will do so in a way that doesn't.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's all dependent. But anyways, it's associated like they say in science, because they're only doing concentric lifting. It's associated with a loss of sarcomere and series. That's why they're so weak. They're so weak eccentrically, man. Get it, man. You understand me? But bodybuilders are strong eccentrically and concentrically because we get them in parallel and in series. You understand?
Beat your joints up.
I like how he shows himself here. Look at that. He's funny.
Doesn't beat your tendons up. So yeah, you're going to notice me doing a bunch of tendons.
Concentric lifting does beat your tendons up. It weakens them, man. Over
You're actually
time. You're like a factory worker, weakening yourself, getting paid, and weakening yourself and aging.
Overs were 30. You see some 10s and 12s, even some 30s
Okay.
and stuff in there.
Whatever you say, Blaha.
Yeah, you can come in and take bands and small exercises and do bunches of 20 and 30 rep sets.
Yeah, okay.
You come in and do 10 sets of 30 of a small movement that's easy to recover from.
Okay.
Okay? Of a small movement that's easy to recover from. And it will grow. And if it's truly a weak link, you will get stronger from it. You will get bigger.
Okay, if you say so.
stronger. If it's limiting your lift, so if it's your triceps and they're limiting your bench press will go up from doing it. I've seen it, I've observed it. So this idea that this doesn't work or that it's useless or worthless, absolutely insane. Not based on the real world. This is a bunch of small children, most of them, making up nonsense, who've never coached anyone, have never done anything except use a little bit of tread.
Well, the industry is fake, the fitness industry, and so is Blaha. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao, friends. Don't you think about that? Like, subscribe, support the channel.